So this season on Married to Medicine, we have the ladies traveling to Vegas on a girls' trip. We also have them moving into various homes. We also have them really rehashing their friendship. And we even have practically everybody except for Anila falling out with Dr. Heavenly. And it's all because of her YouTube channel. OMG, I think Heavenly is going to be this season's target. I'm be honest with you. And this is my review for season 9, episode 1 of Married to Medicine. Let's get into it, shall we? Hey, it's your girl, Miss Sand Little Cole, and I am back with another commentary. And like I said I would come back, I came back. Now, before I begin the review, I want to say of all of the reality shows I watch, I absolutely love Married to Medicine. Okay? I love Married to Medicine way more than all the other shows on Bravo, except for my favorite, Real Housewives of Potomac. That's my show, and I can't wait till they come back. Minus Candace, I can't with her. But this is the show that I always watch, and I said one day I'm going to do a review on it, and here it is. So I'm sticking with this. I'm going to do a review on every episode of Married to Medicine. Okay? I really am. Because this show I love. And I can't stand hospitals. So that speaks volumes. So, this season on Married to Medicine, Quad has returned. The fabulous Quad Lunsford has returned. And she kept the name Lunsford. And she is back after being a recurring cast member, or, you know, like we usually like to say, the main friend of the show. Okay? So she's back. Now, I'm going to do this review, and I'm going to keep it under 25 minutes. I really am. I'm going to really keep it under 25 minutes. So I'm going to start now. So we open the show with them showing, you know, flashes of what's going to happen this season, of course. And they're all sitting down at, seems like this open type of, you know, I don't want to say mass, but like this preacher is outside. And they basically, you know, saying, won't he do it in Jesus' name and so forth. Because most of them, with the exception of Anila, are Christian. So we see Jackie and Simone's friendship has resumed after taking a break last year and the year before when they weren't airing due to the pandemic. Okay, so to get a story about what happened, and not story, a breakdown of what happened, Jackie and Simone have been besties going back to the 90s when they were in medical school. And what occurred is that in season 7, Buffy Purcell was a recurring cast member. So she was like a friend to the show. But they were trying to fit her in as part of the cast. But I think that when the pandemic hit, basically they probably felt like too much baggage happened with that situation. And one of the things that occurred was that Buffy basically confided in Dr. Jackie about not having difficulty conceiving and having, you know, losing a couple of babies. And so she told the situation to Simone, and she basically kind of made it public, which kind of violated HIPAA laws. But Dr. Jackie apologized. But she said, I'm not going to keep apologizing anymore. Simone took Buffy's side because she felt like I have sympathy for it because, you know, both of them are OBGYNs. But Dr. Simone was more like, you know, like you gotta, don't say that. Like, don't, share that in public. Now, I'm going to go back because she shared it in public at a conference. Well, not a conference, but like a dinner event in front of everyone. But she went into a little bit deeper with Simone because they're both doctors. And Simone said, you should not have done that, Jackie. Because, Jackie, that's a private matter. But here's the thing. Jackie, two things. One, Jackie has, overcome the big C a lot. Like, I think it was like twice. And number two, Jackie's never had children. So her thing is, I had that situation taken away from me due to the big C coming. This woman, she just can't hold babies. But that's like, you can't hold babies for whatever reason. It's not because you got sick. My thing is, I got sick. So her thing is like, no, I'm not going to have like compassion from you, or like, I'm not going to keep apologizing, because her thing is, that was an almost fatality. You just can't hold them. You could adopt if you really want them that bad. So that's where the whole line in the sand was drawn between Simone and Jackie. And by the end of season 7, they weren't really cool anymore. And Simone sided with Buffy. So when season 8 came, they weren't really talking like that. It wasn't until the reunion when they reunited. And what we see is that they're in the car. They're pretty much, driving, talking. And they even end up, talking even in the house and chatting it up. And Jackie talks about this, seminar she went to in Alabama, where they're basically learning how to take the O shot, which is like a placement of blood that you put in. And then you basically take out the plasma from the blood. And then you basically put the plasma in the shot. And then you rejuvenate the vaginal area to basically make yourself feel young again as a woman. But also, there's a shot also for men, but I think she was lying about that and kicking it up. But I'm going to say about Curtis and Cecil, because those ladies, the doctors, were not speaking, Cecil and Curtis weren't really talking. Mind you, they filmed this in 2020 and the pandemic was still kind of going on, but they really couldn't meet up because it was sort of like, the ladies aren't really talking. So it's like a weird thing. Like, we're not beefing, but, it's sort of like strange. And then, they dealing with, as far as Cecil and Simone, their youngest son was going off to college in Tennessee. And, the stress of all that. And the thing that bothered her was that, if I can remember, Jackie didn't come to the graduation party. And that really made Simone upset. So I'm going to say this about those two ladies. There are still strains within that relationship, because the rhythm of it is not the same like it's been from season 1 to most of season 7. That relationship has really got a lot of work and a lot of patches to fix up. But I liked how they were joking around, even about, the husband saying, we're going to go down the block to get wings. And Simone said, that's code word for going to the strip club. Y'all going to Magic City. And I'm going to be honest with you. At first, I didn't get it. And I should have got it because I've been watching P-Valley, even like the first season again. And I'm like, that should have hit, because all the men say, if you want to get some really delicious wings, you have to go to the strip clubs. They make the best wings. And there's a reason to that. I'll talk about that on P-Valley reviews. So we're going to get to Dr. Heavenly. Dr. Heavenly owns a beauty supply store called Heavenly Beauty. And she's tapping into the multi-billion-dollar hair care industry that historically Black women have been barred out of. Now, we're not talking about in terms of relaxers, chemicals, things like that. We're not talking about, creating like different utensils, electronic kitware, like, curling irons, thing like that. We know that the Jerry curl grows $42 million. No. The Afro pick, and shout outs to the man who passed away. The man that created it, he passed away. That, no. As far as the hair extensions, no. We're just now getting there to tap into it. And we all know Dr. Heavenly is rich. Let's keep it real. Her and her husband. So this is going to add more to their, wealth portfolio. So Alora works at the shop, and Alora basically works there until 8 o'clock because she still has curfew because she's still a minor. By law, she can't work there past 8 because she's only now about 17 years old. And so Alora basically is doing all of the work, the social media pages, promoting it. And she's really great at it. And she's very fashion savvy. And Dr. Heavenly's like, I don't know where she got it from. I don't know. And she just got it. And I think it is what Alora is, that her brain is wired more for business, communications, fashion, things of that nature. Whereas her brothers, they're going into medicine. One is going to medical school and one is aiming to go to dental school. So that's, her mind is geared towards making money and being fabulous, but it's still hard work, and they're seeing that she's committed to it. So Quad comes over, and Quad basically tells her, when I was 16, my first car was a Toyota. Your first car is a Range Rover. And so Alora's a very pretty girl, but I have to say that she is a little, her look is a little grown. Now, maybe it's for the show why they do it, but I just, she should be okay, but I don't know. Like, I feel like Heavenly focuses on a lot of people on her show, but she needs to kind of be a little bit more mindful to her daughter, because a lot of overdone makeup, them long nails, and being on social media is not the best sign, if you know what I'm getting at. But I like Alora, always have. But she always been a little bit grown anyway, even going back to season 2 in Sassy. So what happens is Quad mentions that, how's Contessa? And Heavenly's like, she ain't called me. She hasn't called me. She hasn't seen me or anything like that. So the screen shrinks with Heavenly and Quad, and then the screen at the bottom kind of opens up to where we see Dr. Contessa saying, I stopped talking to Heavenly because after the reunion, Dr. Heavenly basically been talking a lot of junk about my husband and I's marriage. She goes on her YouTube vlog and basically says that my husband, Scott, is abusing me. Basically says that I'm being emotionally and, spiritually abused. And talks about how, all these horrible things about my marriage. And I'm sick of it. And my thing is, how can I be friends with a person like that when you're talking so bad about me? And I totally agree 100%. We can't talk as girlfriends and then you on YouTube chatting it up and saying the worst things about not just me, but the whole group of friends, and Heavenly's page is good. I am subscribers after Heavenly, but fair is fair. Now, if you're gonna just, do this and we're, work on the show, then that's one thing. But I can't really kick here with you and girlfriend it with you. And I mean, you trash talking. And sometimes Heavenly, she goes above and beyond, if you know what I mean. So going to Contessa. Contessa is working out with this man named Abdul to prepare for the women's fitness competition. So we go back and we have a flashback to where Contessa was crying on the reunion for season 8 about her divorce and how Scott, she filed the papers and she had even got plans to move into a different house. She was going to sell the house and everything, but Scott refused to sign the papers because he decided to make it work for them. So they've been in therapy, and Scott and Contessa say it's been working great. And Scott said something that was profound. He said, therapy has worked for their marriage, because it contains not just less fighting, but fighting less and fighting fair. And that's a realistic approach, because no matter what, in any relationship, you're going to fight. Most of the times it's verbal. But here's the thing. I believe that Scott is passive aggressive. I believe that Scott does things to tick off Contessa. I believe Contessa is struggling with being a mom, a wife, a doctor, a superwoman, coming from a low-income background, dealing with family, hardships, and also completing her master's degree, dealing with COVID, everything, and then also the possibility that Scott was cheating on her, all of that lumped in. Contessa is a person who wants to achieve perfection. It's not just greatness, it's perfection. And being in the military, she was really, really good at what she did. She was a military physician. Also, being a Black woman as a physician, it's not that many of them. So that's another thing. And I feel that she felt as though Scott wasn't supporting her. Going back to when in season 6, when she was going to graduate school for her MPH degree at Meharry Medical College, which is an HBCU. So she shows the kids a ticket from the Miss Missouri pageant in 2002 that she competed for and was a finalist just before she entered the military. And she wants that body back for her competing as in the women's fitness competition. So it's like Contessa wants to be the young girl again, like she was when she was 25. And I feel like her and Scott, they're going to stay together for the kids. She has 3 kids. And that little one is sassy. And I think she's going to be a lawyer. I really think she's going to be a lawyer. I don't care. I don't think she's going to go into medicine. I think the oldest one is, but she's going to be a lawyer. So now we go into Quad. Now this one is a little, this is very, heart-wrenching. So we see her dogs, Kari, Chloe, and, she has a new dog. And we see her nephew, Mason. Now, we've met Mason before. We met him, I believe it was season 5. And he had this beautiful afro, and he was a year old. And he moved in with her because his father passed away unexpectedly. And it bothers him at times to where he can't concentrate in class. And so her mother also moves in with her. So if you remember last year, Quad had purchased a townhouse that had an elevator. Well, she basically sold the townhouse and bought a 6-bedroom, 9-bathroom home that's 14,000 square foot. And she built it up, and pretty much she's raising her nephew. So she's basically going to teach him how to tie his shoes. He's 6 years old. And she basically told him, you got to focus in class. Your teacher said you're an excellent student, but you have issues remaining focused. So he starts to break down and not really cry. But it's like, he misses his dad. So the mother starts to cry. And Quad is consoling both of them. And Quad says, no matter what, Mason, you can still think about your father, but you always have to remain focused. Now, here's the thing about that. Bereavement, that's no joke. Okay? And when it happens to children when they're young, that is traumatic. That boy lost his father. And his father was there for him. And you can tell his father was a better parent because he ain't with his mother. He's not with his mother. He's with Quad. And Quad was not trying to have a baby. And look what happened. She raising her 6-year-old nephew. Okay? And Quad basically, built the island, like that area where you have the sink, the table, right then and there. Beautiful, beautiful layout. And she said, I had that there for the snacks, but Mason thinks I have it for the snack. But I am the snack. I could do so many things on the table, but I can't because Mason lives here. So she won't be able to get her freak on in the island in the kitchen. So beautiful home. And I think it's a good thing that she moved both of them in there together. Her nephew and her grandmother. I think that was really nice, to keep the family close. So now we go to Anila's house. Now, last season, if you remember, she was building the dream home. At the time, they was in year 2. They are going to celebrate the building of the home, completing the home, that they spent $2.5 million for a 14 square, 6 bedroom, 10 bathroom home. Dr. Saja cannot stand the home. He can't stand it. He calls it the house from hell. And pretty much, Anila she loves it. But it was supposed to be $1.5 million. Then it went up to $2.2 million. Then it went up to $2.5. So in Indian culture, they have to bless the home. And so they have a priest that sends prayers. And they, basically do like mantras. But Anelia also said that, they have to bring the cow over. Now, honey, when I saw the cow, I was like, okay, they got to be for money. Because I know the poor ones, unless they live in the farming area, stuff like that, it's hard to get a cow. So the cow, which I've known this forever, the cow is revered as a pet in Indian culture. They are considered one of the gods because they provide food, milk, and cheese. Okay? So without the cow, they would pretty much starve. So the cow enters the house and the cow poops on the stairs coming out. And the mother to Anila says, oh my God, the cow poop. But you know what? We worship the poop. We worship the poop. It's a good sign. Which they do. They do. I know that. And I know this because my niece is half Indian. So I know these things about, Indian culture and things like that. So we go to Toya. Toya's new rental. Now, I'm going to say this about Toya. If you ever notice, Toya is always having conflict with her children. She always yells at them and says things like, you need to listen. Do you hear me? Don't talk back to me. Go upstairs. And it's almost borderline scary. And Dr. Eugene is the total opposite. He's not hard on the boys. And I guess it's because he's a doctor doing ER medicine. And when he comes home, he don't want to deal with the ruckus. And he tells Toya, can you please stop all that yelling? And you know what Toya says? You want to get a white woman? As if to say, I'm never going to stop yelling because I'm a black woman. And the kids start rolling and laughing. So we go to 2018 when Toya started building a home that she moved into in 2020, 2021. Remember, it had the spacious pool and everything. But then she left that home and decided to go to build a new home because she wants to have a tennis court because she plays tennis. She wants an elevator and she also wants a pool. Now, here's the thing. I'm calling BS on this. I'm going to tell you why. She's moving because she was having issues with Anila. She saw Anila building that home. And if you remember, that was the beginning of the breakdown of that friendship between Anila and Toya. Because if you remember, Anila was like the new girl. not just on the show, but she was also new in the neighborhood. And they were like these best friends. And I'm going to get into something with those two. I really like Anila. Toya is okay. But here's the thing with those two. Those two were bound to go at it. They're both Aries. Anila is a March Aries. Toya is an April Aries. But here's the thing. Anila is one of those Aries that's really sweet, fun, energetic, and really is great to have as a friend and gets along with people very well. And she is unapologetic, about the stuff she says. And she doesn't offend people with what she says. Her things is like, the stuff that she does. Like in the intro, she was like, oh, I just peed on myself. She lets her hair down. Toya is not like that. Toya is never going to let herself look like she's the butt of the joke. She has to be prim and proper and perfect. And the thing is that Anila has her own money. She works. Toya doesn't really work like that. Okay? And that's another issue that many people have, criticized her for her, i.e. Dr. Heavenly. Now, the thing is that Toya was trying to, control Anila and was calling her things like, stupid. I mean, it was horrible how she was treating her friend in the end. And Anila was like, I'm done with this. I'm not dealing with it. I am not going to be your puppet. You're not going to pull strings. I can make friends, because she didn't like the fact that Anila started talking and being friendly with Heavenly. She didn't like it. She did not like it. So the son invites Dr. Heavenly and says, Toya, I want you to come to Diwali. And it was so cute how he said it, to the housewarming party. And, Toya was like, oh, you sent your child over to invite me to your housewarming party, but you couldn't come out the car yourself. And so she said, we have a better relationship. And, Toya did apologize at the reunion. They hugged. And, I think the relationship can, resume, because they're not living close to each other. But I call bluff on Toya about the house. I think she wants to top Anila. So now we deal with Dr. Contessa and Scott. They attend Dolly. Now, here's the thing about them two. And it's not Scott. Scott is basically, going to wear, as much as possible, traditional Indian clothes. Dr. Contessa said, I'm not wearing the clothes. We have a lot of Indian friends that we know, i.e. because they work in medicine. And she was like, I'm just going to, come as myself. So we're at the party and we meet a new medical couple. Her name is Audra and her husband is Dr. Martin. So they're friends with Heavenly. And Dr. Martin is a dentist and he graduated from Howard University and more than likely School of Dentistry. Audra is an attorney. So she's going to be a friend to the show. So right now she's quiet, but her husband is very open with the cast. And I think it's because he's friends with both Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Damon. So we also see OG, doctor's wife, Kari. She was from season 1. And Carrie is her name. Carrie is married to Dr. Duncan. And Dr. Duncan, I believe, he's a plastic surgeon. And Carrie has been really trying to get back into the show since really season 2. Season 2, she was a friend of the show. And then in season 3, you didn't see her. Season 4, I think you saw her in season 5, like one episode. But she's taken advantage of the whole situation with season 8. Now, if you remember, season 8, you had Lisa return as a friend and Carrie. And Carrie, for the most part, got along with the women. She was even at one of the marches back in 2020. It was this march they had. And Lisa basically got into it with Dr. Heavenly. And they was going to fight on the bus. But Carrie is not playing. She going to try to get back on that show. And I think she can kind of come back because I actually liked Carrie on the show. But the thing is that Messy Mariah didn't want her back. But see, karma hit Mariah, because guess what? Mariah ended up being ousted not by the people at Bravo. It was purveyors of pop. So that's what ended up happening. So they basically kind of badmouthed Mariah to the producers of Bravo. And that's why she's not there. The breakdown of communication, and she wasn't going to deal with the disrespect. So she's not there. And they replaced her and her husband with Anila and her husband. Okay? So we're at the party, and we're basically seeing, everybody gather around and having fun. And they announce Anila and Dr. Saja, but they don't say his name, and he gets upset. And then pretty much Contessa and Scott arrive. That outfit was horrible. And Anila said she did not get the assignment. The outfit looked like she bought a Party City Egyptian outfit costume. It was just bad. It was bad all around. It's like you didn't want to be there. And I think because Dr. Heavenly was there. You didn't want to be there. And so she basically is told by the mother to get drinks. So she's like, I'm going to go get drinks. Now, we see Toya and Eugene arrive late, and they pass by their old house. And, they go in there and they talk, and they tour the bedroom. And Anila said, these are the chairs where we're going to get our freak on and so forth. And the home is beautiful. So they basically, talk about how she got all her furniture for free due to her blog and connections. And her husband's like, I'm impressed. And, that's basically, the hustle in Anila. So this is what they're talking about. They're talking about Aizen, Quad, and Contessa. I'm not going to say nothing to Quad. I'm Heavenly. I'm not saying nothing to Heavenly because she doesn't get it. Would you be friends with someone who talked about you so bad on the internet? Who called your doctor husband abusive? Now, they played clips of what Heavenly was saying. And Heavenly was like, oh, do I think Dr. Contessa is being abused by Scott? Emotionally, spiritually, verbally, yes, I think she is. And so every time she was talking about it, which Contessa was a lion, Heavenly was going in, and not as a friend. She was going in as a commentator. And so Heavenly sees Quad and Contessa talking. And so Heavenly is basically, folding her arms and so forth. And she's upset. And she's like, Contessa's like, she don't get it. And I can't, be friends with someone like that. I can't do it. And I understand. But I'm going to get to that towards the end. So we get to where Anila and Saja are talking about Diwali. So Diwali is the festival of, bringing good energy into the new year. So it symbolizes lightness over darkness, good over evil. And this one I love, knowledge over ignorance. I just love that. And so, they're celebrating, and what ends up happening is that they start to eat the food, and this part I loved. Saja tells the ladies, these are the sweetest balls you're going to ever have. And those balls are called gulab jamun. And I love gulab jamun. Love it. And so we see the episode close with Anila doing the Indian dance. She's been doing Indian dance for 2 years. Now, she did the Indian dance last year at the Holi Festival, where they do the Festival of Colors. And it was cute, but I don't know if I could have had that thrown in my face and everything. I don't know if I could have done that. But here's what Simone said. Simone said, that bitch ain't got no rhythm. Now, here's my thing. If Anila was dancing to, hip hop, R&B type of music, slow dance, soul music, any of our traditional dances, I would say, okay, fine, fair one. But she's dancing to her own culture. Now, I've seen traditional Indian dancing. She's not the best one, but she is good at what she does with the dancing. And so I like Dr. Simone, but sometimes Simone can be really ratchet, like really too ratchet. So the episode ends there, and it was a good episode. It wasn't exciting, but for more to come, Heavenly is going to be the center of attention this season. Last season, it was more, all eyes was on Toya and the new girl, Anila. And focusing on Jackie and Simone's, breakdown of their best friendship. And then Dr. Heavenly, kind of blowing up and arguing with Lisa and Carrie coming back into the fold. And Contessa, going through the situation with Scott. This season is like everything is going to go and point fingers at Heavenly. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm here for it because here's my thing. I'm a blogger. We're all on YouTube. We're vlogging. And all of us that just commentary, we have responsibility to basically tell the truth. And we have responsibility to make sure what we say doesn't cause people to be hurt. You know what I mean? When I was committed to doing this, I basically was like, I'm not going to hurt anyone. I'm going to basically be careful with the things I say. Oh my God. And I pretty much, agree with Contessa. If you're going to talk about my family, give me a heads up. Tell me that you're doing this for content. Or are you doing this because this is how you really feel? If you're doing this just for content, okay, but here's the problem. I still can't rock with you because this can hurt my husband's practice. See, there's money involved. There's a career involved, Heavenly, and you got to take that into consideration. Because remember when people talk about daddy, you don't like it. Because there's accusations that daddy be cheating on you because the producer asks Dr. Damon, are you allowed to have female friends? No, that's what Heavenly said. And then he said, no, I don't have female friends. And you could tell he was looking like, damn, like, really? Like, I got to lie and say this stuff. And people think they got the perfect marriage. But what I think it is that I think that Dr. Heavenly knows what's really up. And I think Dr. Heavenly, is very, on daddy. Because, he calls her buddy. He don't call her mama like Monique. Sydney at least called her mama. He called her daddy. He called her buddy. And that's weird. Buddy. Not mama. Buddy. But this season is going to be really interesting. And I actually went over the 25-minute mark by 13 minutes. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. I had fun doing this review, and I'm gonna do more. This is my show. And with that being said, it's your girl Miss Analytical. I'm signing off. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe. Please comment. Please hit the notification bell to receive future notices on uploads and lives. Also, comment, share, and like. And I'll be back soon. Enjoy the weekend. Stay cool. And have a great night.